Hi, guys. Miss Torres here. This is going to be a brief overview of what you guys can expect within your AC1 research portion of in our BTEC Creative Media class. It's a part of the class that probably requires the most amount of more traditional work, doing research, writing. It depends. I'll go into the different ways that you can deliver it. But me and Miss Jarvis do want to give you a general overview of what you can expect. And then in future recordings, we'll break down the elements that make up your AC1 research a bit more in depth. So here you can just see the overview on your own. You can access this easily, but I first will go ahead and talk about your requirements. So for AC1, the things that you will need, this is the research portion. You can either do a report or a presentation. Typically, what we tend to do is the first time you do AC1 in grade 11, you will have to do a research report because we just want to make sure that you get a bit of the writing down, that more professional writing from a business lens, and it's just helpful to write it all out. And then eventually you guys can transfer that information into a presentation. So this is generally the order of how your reports are going to be. They'll have the brief overview, which we give you, the objectives of what we would want. You have to do an overview of your client, audience research, market research, and product research, really big chunk. Your media analysis is another portion as well that is part of your product research, ethical considerations. And then basically, after you have done all of this research, you then have to do a proposal saying, this is what I'm going to do based on what I've learned about my client, what I've learned about all my different kinds of research. And then you propose what you would like. And then we do want you to have references, and we'll talk about how you cite those. For researching all your research information, how to document it, we will give you a research log, and it just helps you organize everything. You don't necessarily have to use this, but it does. It's just something that we've made for you. So, um, obviously, research matters, but a lot of times people don't put together the idea of doing research with media. And it's really critically important because you need to know your audience in order to deliver what your audience wants. And with the power of media and how much you can influence people, um, it helps you when you do your research to establish your facts. It's, like I said, great for understanding the audience. We're going to definitely go in a lot into demographics, behaviors, media consumptions, preferences. And then when you understand your audience, you can then inform the content strategy. You can identify the trends and current issues that would pertain to your audience through your client lens. And then you can have an idea with your decision making around what it is you want to do, and then think about your impact as well. You want to make sure that, remember, with media, everything is intentional. Everything that you make, there's a purpose through the way that you do it, how you deliver it, who you're delivering it for. And you just can't make that up or just be like, oh, I just want to do it for these people. There has to have some intentionality around it, and then also some research to back it up. So this is why we research for media. It's very important. So research methods, these aren't going to be new for y'all. You've definitely seen these in your MYP design class and all your other classes, but just to give you an overview of what it looks like in BTEC, I did want to go over this. So we'll start off with your primary research, right? With your primary research, it's the research that you have collected yourself directly from the source. So this is great when you need like fresh insights. You want to test ideas with your audience, and it's when you're collecting qualitative feedback and quantitative feedback. Okay, so we'll go a bit into that, what that is. But primary research for BTEC can look like holding a focus group so you can get an idea of what people think about your idea or your client. It could be running a poll to test a logo or color preferences, and you can actually use Instagram for this. It's when you interview a creative professional or you interview people from your intended audience. And also, you can design a survey to find out what your target audience wants, but just be mindful with surveys, you're not going to get a lot of that in-depth information. It's more just kind of like the numbers bit. So it's just good to keep in mind. Then with your secondary research, it's when you look into that existing information that has already been gathered. And it's really great when you're trying to find out like statistics, like understanding your market, identifying trends. If you need background information on a particular client or actually competitors, and you can also analyze how other people have approached similar projects. It's not just looking up stuff on the internet. It can definitely be, one is watching YouTube videos that help you to analyze successful media content. You can look at articles, blogs. Case studies are an amazing resource where you basically take something that has happened and you see all the iterations of it and you learn from it. Looking at industry reports about media trends, looking at competitor websites, ads, their branding, and also the high school library has some really, really great resources Statista is amazing. It basically is a website that has all these statistics, and it's actually like concrete, and you can use it to back up your research quite well. There's also JSTOR and Gale. So these you guys are all familiar with. It's not something that is brand new that you haven't been exposed to either in middle school or your first couple of years of high school, but it's just looking at how you can use what you've learned in gathering resources to create your report. Um, Really quick overview of just qualitative versus quantitative research. When you're talking about qualitative research, it's all about exploring opinions, feelings, and ideas. Okay. So it really gives you insights into reasoning behind why your audience is the way they are or why they want the things that they want. It's really great if you want to think about message impact or audience perception. And the way you would gather qualitative research would this definitely would go into when you ask open-ended questions in an interview. It's just not yes or no. When you bring people together and create a focus group and you just have them talk about a campaign, it could be a brand, it could be a film, it could be, let's say you're doing something for YFS and you want to reinvent YFS. How would it look like? You can get people's opinions. Um, Tying it back to those open-ended questions, you're getting feedback. This is something you'll have to do at the end of every BTEC project. You do have to do an evaluation on yourself. And this is where you talk about what do you like most about this film and you have them share. So qualitative is getting all kind of like the feelings part, okay, around your research. Whereas quantitative research is those hard numbers, okay? It's great for trends, it's great for patterns, and it's just really good when you need to prove something with numbers, and that can be audience size, measurable data. So here, there's a bunch of different examples here as well, like age and location breakdowns. If you want to do a social media poll, that's still quantitative research. You're getting hard numbers. Survey results often fall into that, and just it's just plain numbers, and that's it. Scales from 1 to 5, yes, no, true, false, yeah, true, false, all that. Okay. When you guys are citing your sources, this is something that is very, very, very important because we want to make sure that you are able to back up all the choices that you have made with some hard research. Okay. So the first thing we are going to talk about is when you're using AI, the way it works with our class is that you would fall under level 1 of AI assisted, like use, excuse me. So basically, it's like your AI is not used in like the creating the final piece, but you can use AI to help you brainstorm your questions that you need to research. It could help you in writing questions to ask a focus group or to interview, or how to word something that is more open-ended, but you want to keep it objective. That's okay. It could help you write those things, but it cannot help you write pieces of your report. You cannot put in a video and say, oh, can you please do this media analysis? Because really the thing is that you know exactly what your client wants. So you need to have that eye. So that's just kind of an idea of where we fall. We would fall under that level 1. Okay. So it's only for really your research log. And you do need to make sure that you evidence and cite all of your AI prompts, what you asked. We use APA style citation. You need to make sure you have all your references listed at your AC1 report. And this is a big one for you to get your distinctions or the highest grade possible within BTEC is have as many in-text citations as possible, as well as visuals that you can cite. Guys, using the CRAP test, using your source reliability, what's the relevance, the currency relevance, the authority, accuracy, purpose. Make sure you're using things that are actually valid and they're credible websites. You're not just getting something off of some random person on Reddit. Okay. We all know this story. I'm not teaching anything new. Some citation tools. Noodle Tools is kind of the best one that the school does offer you. There's also a Google Docs citation tool. And if you need to have any help, the high school library guide has some great things with citation assistance. So on to the last bit here, templates and tools. Miss Jarvis and I have worked really hard on creating different kinds of templates to help you write your reports. Miss Torres, I will eventually go and you can click on these and access them, but a great place to start off is your research log. And then when you decide on how you would want your report, if you want to do your report or a research template, they show up here. You can go ahead and click and see what they look like. I'll kind of link in and go over some of this really quickly, and you can have an idea. Some great image websites if you need them. Just some ideas when you are using any kind of images or downloading media off the internet. What's really helpful to use is Log in with your ISL email. It actually allows you to download a lot more images for free, and it's on your personal email. And just make sure when you're searching for images to choose free. Some websites I really like. Pexels is amazing. It doesn't just only have like photos that are free. It's like photos and video. I think Pixabay is the same. And Flat Icon, there's just simple icons that you can use and download. And if you log in with your ISL email, you can adjust colors and it downloads at a PNG. So just some options there for you. So that's about it. I know this was a very quick overview, but it's just introducing to you what we are expecting within AC1 research. Any other questions, you can go to the BTEC website. You can always write Miss Jarvis or myself, or just write us on Google Chat. We are here to help you. Okay. Next thing we'll be talking about is audience research. So I'll see you there.